Eh bien, nous sommes à Détroit, État du Michigan, aux États-Unis, et précisément à la Chambre du commerce, où nous sommes gentiment reçus par Madame Maureen Krauss, chargée du développement économique, donc à Détroit. Donc il va nous parler de cette merveilleuse ville de Détroit. Maureen, pouvez-vous nous dire ce qui se passe à Détroit? Il y a beaucoup d'émissions en France qui parlent de Détroit. Alors, pouvez-vous nous en dire plus?
Detroit is an interesting city that over 300 years ago was founded by French fur traders. So we have a very strong heritage and connection with France. And today it really shows itself in a great trading relationship between the Detroit area and France, as well as many strong, important French companies who have locations here. So we continue that tradition of having a really strong connection with France. So that being said, right now in the city of Detroit, it's really a renaissance time for us because the city has gone through, of course, the real implosion of the automotive industry, which is key to us, back in 2009. That has had a full recovery. Actually, it's recovered faster than we ever imagined. And then the city went through, 3 years ago, a municipal bankruptcy process, which is very different from a business bankruptcy. So I think that's important for people to understand. Really what it did allow was for the city to restructure parts of its financial and business operations as a city. Now that we are through bankruptcy, the city budget is in much better financial shape. The delivery of services to residents and businesses has improved dramatically. And I think that there is a great opportunity and a great interest in outside investors now coming into the city. Just as an example that I'll use, so, you know, governments are to deliver services to their residents. So whether that's picking up the garbage or police response time or, having streetlights that work. So I'll just give you a couple of statistics. In the past 2 years, the city has replaced 60,000 streetlights in the city with new energy efficient lighting. So lighting was an issue. The lighting was old. It was broken down. The streets were, dark and not well lit. Now, as some people sort of jokingly say, it looks like Las Vegas here because we have all brand new lighting. Safety is a huge issue and one that unfortunately Detroit doesn't have a great reputation for. But the police department has been reinvigorated, additional financing resources put there. Now, when you're in downtown Detroit, it is safer than being in New York City, downtown Boston, or downtown Chicago. Crime statistics are going down throughout the neighborhoods. There's still work to do. We don't want to ever pretend it's perfect yet, but all of the trend lines are going in the right way. So we're really excited about those types of core services that residents come to expect and businesses come to expect are all improving dramatically post-bankruptcy. And then there's private investment going on here through bankruptcy, but accelerated since then, probably close to about $20 billion in the past, since 2012, of private sector investment in the city proper. So it's a very exciting time to be here.
Pouvez-vous nous dire s'il y a de nouveaux arrivants dans la ville de Détroit?
So in the Detroit region itself, we have over 1,400 foreign firms from 38 different countries. So there's a lot of global investment. So a couple of things to understand also about Detroit. From where we're sitting, we are looking south at Canada. So Canada is right across the Detroit River on our border. We reside in the busiest border crossing in the NAFTA, or North American Free Trade Agreement. In the entire NAFTA region, this is the busiest border crossing. So it brings a lot of international commerce and business through our door every day. The other thing that's really interesting and unique about Detroit is we have some very strong ethnic populations that come here and feel comfortable here. So we have a very strong Mexican population in the southwest part of the city that has a lot of rich cultural and business assets to our area. The Hamtramck area, which is a little enclave in Detroit, it's a city within the city. That originally started as a very strong Polish population. It now is like the United Nations, with a lot of international people coming and moving there because they feel very comfortable in an environment where many cultures reside. The Detroit area also has the largest Arab population outside of the Middle East, which brings great cultural assets once again, from business opportunities to restaurants and everything in between. So international visitors love to come here. Historically, and I would say in the past 20 years, Detroit, of course, has lost dramatic population. The mayor, Mayor Duggan, has said that his one goal that he wants to be judged on is the increase in population in the city. We've seen quite a bit of movement in that regard in the past few years. We probably have about 13,000 to 14,000 people in the past 4 years who now work downtown that didn't work here before. So traffic has increased. Most people don't think traffic is a good thing, but we know that's people working down here. The other statistic, though, I should tell you, in the downtown and midtown area, which really is the central core of Detroit, there's a 98% occupancy on residential units. So 98%, waiting list everywhere. If you wanted to come and rent an apartment or buy a loft here in that midtown, downtown area, you would be on a waiting list. There are currently over 5,000 new units under construction right now. The area I'm talking to is about a 7.2 square mile core of our city. So what's happening, though, is because there's 98% occupancy and people want to be down here, globally, the whole move to urban areas is happening around the world and in Detroit. But that development then starts to spread out into the neighborhoods from the core. And so we have great, strong neighborhood associations where housing is being improved. It's very inexpensive. It's a great value proposition to buy a house here. We don't have houses for $1 anymore. That used to be, or €1. Yeah, you're too late. We're all too late for that. But I think what's important is as this development pressure grows out, that is enhancing the adjacent neighborhoods, and it continues to spread out. And I don't want anyone to, once again, be under the impression that it's all perfect. The mayor has had a really strong push at getting vacant houses occupied through a land bank process where the city takes possession of vacant houses. If they can be improved and sold, that's what they're doing. If they need to be torn down, it's been very aggressive. The city's been very aggressive at tearing down homes that are beyond repair. But first is to try to preserve the home because that helps stabilize neighborhoods. But then it's to remove the ones that are beyond repair because that destabilizes neighborhoods.
Qu'en est-il de l'emploi ici à Détroit?
Once again, I'll sort of do state, region, city. So the state of Michigan, which had an extraordinarily high unemployment rate, over 14% in 09-10, is now below the national average. So it's about 4.5% in the state. The region is the same. So our region comprises about 5.3 million people. We're at, we have different pockets of areas, but we're at about the national average, which for us is amazing and wonderful that so many people are employed. The city has a higher unemployment rate. Part of that is because matching skill sets to jobs. So once again, this is a strong effort of the mayor and his administration, and actually ours at the Detroit Regional Chamber, because education is a really strong focus of ours. We work to make sure that the children coming out of the Detroit public schools have the skills that they need to either get additional educational degrees or for the jobs. One of the things that we really have a shortage of here are skilled trades, welders, electricians, plumbers. So, we're in the process of building a new bridge to Canada that will employ 10,000 people in the skilled trades. So we're working really hard to make sure that our educational attainment of our employees or our residents, whether they're coming out of school or they're 40 years old and needing a job, really matches up to what the business community wants. That is a challenge for us. So the city of Detroit rate is higher than the national average. Hovers around, the rates vary, but I would say from different sources, we're over 15% in the city. That's too high. In some pockets, it can be as high as 25%. So it's taking that workforce and matching them and getting them the skills they need for the jobs that are out there, not just today, but in the next 5 and 10 years.
concernant notre activité, pensez-vous que les prix de l'immobilier vont encore augmenter ici à Détroit?
They are going up pretty dramatically, and if you look at this whole state and the area, the housing values in Detroit have increased over 24% in the past couple of years, which is really an amazing amount of money. And once again, it's by providing stable neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods, keeping homes occupied and getting rid of the ones that are beyond repair, stabilizes neighborhoods, that increases housing value. So the numbers are really astonishing, and we can get you, there's graphs and charts. Our mayor is great at data, and he could, we can provide a lot of that information. But once again, the trend lines are going in the right way. One example I'll give you, there's an area in Midtown where there's a big $700 million mixed-use development going on right now. 5 years ago, you could have bought a 2 or 3 bedroom condominium there for about $50,000 or $60,000, brand new. This is a brand new project. Now, if you can find one, they're between $250,000 and $300,000. That's just in 4 years.
Okay.
Now, we all wish we would have bought one. We could have walked to work.
Yeah.
But when you look at that, brand new development, the values went really, really low when the economy tanked and bankruptcy, and now, just a few years later, increased 5 to 6 times in value. That's amazing for a condominium. And, sometimes people don't believe those values, but the good thing is because we have a data-driven mayor, we have all those numbers.
Okay. On voit en France, on nous dit souvent que les Chinois investissent beaucoup ici à Détroit, spécialement dans l'immobilier. Est-ce que c'est vrai?
Well, not as much in the city proper. There have been some, and I can discuss that. But as a region and a state, that is true. 5, 6 years ago, we had 5 Chinese businesses in Michigan, in the whole state. Now we have over 100. But, the Chinese come here, and I hate to generalize, but I think in this case it's fair to say, they come here because the automotive industry is centered here. And they want to work with the auto industry. Originally, when they first started to look at investing here, they would buy a company and take it away, take it back, or take the technology. But what they've really realized is that staying here makes a lot more sense and integrating with the U.S. auto industry and the global auto industry. So the Chinese automotive firms, like I said, we have over 100 here right now, and that's growing. They employ thousands of people in our state and region. From a real estate perspective, we have had some Chinese investors look at big pieces of real estate. Those deals, vacant real estate, those deals have not finalized. They've either resold the property or whatever. And I think, for all foreign investors, it's having the right team on the ground here. It's one, and I would say the same thing to a French investor. It's one thing to buy property at really good value here, which it is. But it's then having a team on the ground, and it doesn't really matter where you're from, but who understands the development process here, what it takes to get your building permits, your site plan approved, what development requirements are here, what are the standards. Just as if I would go and invest in, Italy or Japan, I don't understand the local customs and regulations. So I think for any foreign investor looking here, Chinese, French, whatever, this is one of the things we do is help them put together that team so they don't just buy a building and then let it sit for a few years. So we're very hopeful because I think our region does move ahead when we get investment from all around the world, not just within.
Dernière question. Quels arguments auriez-vous, quelques mots pour convaincre de nouveaux investisseurs français à investir ici à Détroit?
So the global nature of our economy is really strong here. Over 1,400 firms, border crossing with Canada. We're quite an international community, so the global nature is very important. The talent is important here. We have the largest concentration of engineers in the United States is here. Plus we produce, our universities, over 6,000 new engineers every year. But it's not just the engineering talent. We talked a little bit before about the skilled trades. We have more tool and die makers in the Detroit region than all the other states in the United States combined. So we have a real sort of spectrum of talent. The third key point is the innovation that occurs here. So in 2012, the U.S. Patent Office opened up their first satellite office in the United States, and they chose Detroit. And it's not because I did a great job selling them on they should be in Detroit. It was because of the sheer volume. We produce in this region more medical device patents than any other state in the United States. But the auto industry in the past 50 years has produced on average, has been issued on average, one new patent every day for 50 years. So the patent office has a satellite office here just because of the sheer volume of innovation that occurs here. It may have started with Henry Ford and the assembly line, but the reality is the technology that's being developed here, whether it's in automotive, medical device, we have a lot of aerospace and defense work here. That innovation core is really important here. And I guess the fourth final thing is we're still a pretty good bargain compared to many other large global cities. The coast, I'm pretty familiar with costs in Paris. I know we're a better bargain there to buy a house or to buy a business or to buy a piece of land. So there's great value here for what you can get.
Ok, Maureen, merci beaucoup pour toutes ces informations. Ça a été un plaisir.
Good. I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay.